Stephon Castle has officially been crowned this year's NBA Rookie of the Year after a successful rookie campaign with the San Antonio Spurs. However, this could not help me from reflecting back and thinking about our very own Jared McCain, who was robbed of the opportunity to earn that award himself. I am not saying that with his 23 games that Jared McCain deserved to get crowned Rookie of the Year this season, but what I am saying is that if he had played a substantial amount of NBA games, if there was a legitimate sample size to work with, that Jared McCain would have straight up run away with this award, and it is disappointing that we did not get to see that play out in full force. Now, to dive into the voting overall, Jared McCain still does find his name on there with one third place vote. Shout out to whoever that voter is. You know ball, my friend. Now, Stephon Castle pretty much run away with things here. 482 total points there. Zachary Risachet in second, Jalen Wells in third, Alex Sarr in fourth, Zach Edey in fifth, and then you can scroll down. You can see Khalil Ware, Matas Buzelis, who I like as well, and then, of course, Jared McCain rounded up the rear here. Now, when reflecting on Jared McCain's Rookie of the Year, I do want to do a little bit of comparison with him and Stephon Castle here. And why I say this exactly is shout out to Bleacher Report, who already rolled out a redraft of last year's class, and Jared McCain himself climbing up to the fourth pick in the draft. And for who's ahead of them in this specific context, it is Stephon Castle, it is Zachary Risachet, and Alex Sarr. Now, I wholeheartedly will argue right now, if you were telling me to buy stock in any of these players right now, that Jared McCain is still at the forefront of this list. And I would argue tooth and nail that he is a better NBA prospect than Alex Sarr or Zachary Risachet. Risachet in particular impressed me down the stretch that I do see the vision for what he can be, but what I think he can be is a rotational wing at the NBA, a probably starting caliber small forward on a winning basketball team. I think Jared McCain can be a whole lot more impactful to that. Now, to keep it on Stephon Castle, I do want to reflect on these rookie year stats that Castle in his lone season, or first season with the San Antonio Spurs, I should say, averaged 14.7 points per game, 4.1 assists, 3.7 rebounds, shot 42.8% from the field, 28.5% from three there, did shoot 34.7% from the corner. Shooting was a bit of a concern for him coming into the league and kind of a unique positional guy, but overall a no doubt impressive for opening rookie season for Stephon Castle there. Now, to contrast this with Jared McCain, 15.3 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, shot 46% from the field, 38.3% from three, and I think both these guys deserve a ton of credit for this year. I don't want to be a Stephon Castle hater, for the record. I like Stephon Castle quite a bit. I think he's in a perfect spot with that San Antonio team that I think is going to take a massive leap forward. And by the way, quick shout out and prayers to Greg Popovich, who did officially step down as head coach. There had been 303 NBA head coaching changes during the span of while Popovich was in charge of the Spurs. Just think about how insane that is. But no, I do not mean this to be any sort of attack on Stephon Castle. Shout out to him. I do think he deserved Rookie of the Year based on the context of the season. But what I wanted to circle back to is if we got a real look at Jared McCain, a real rookie season from this guy, I don't think it would be particularly close. Now, to acknowledge a couple other things here, do want to pull up, shout out to Derek Barnard tweeting out that Jared McCain, with his averages of 15.3 points, 2.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists on 46, 38.3, and 87.5% splits, did receive a third place vote for Rookie of the Year despite making just 23 appearances before missing the rest of the season with a torn meniscus. To give a little bit more detail here, I do want to point out Jared McCain's raw numbers and sort of, I don't want to say Linsanity run because I do think this is here to stay, that take a look at Jared McCain in the month of November. 19.1 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 2.9 three-pointers made, the only rookie in NBA history to average those stats or better in a month there. Now, for McCain specifically, it was a unique rookie season, as it kind of has been for this entire Sixers squad. That obviously he entered with this entire team having high expectations, that this Sixers team was looked at as an expected championship contender, and obviously things did not play out that way whatsoever. Now, with that, the expectations for McCain changed pretty significantly. That when you flash back to the early parts of the season, we weren't even seeing this man get any clock on the floor. That Nick Nurse had him glued to the bench, barely giving him any sort of opportunity. And then there were those chances where all of a sudden it was a blowout. Jared McCain, let's see what you got. Oh, there is a little something here. He hits a couple three-pointers. He beats a guy off the dribble. And then that started to cycle and roll and build and build. And that's when we got to fully see what Jared McCain can do. Now, when just speaking about him as sort of a future prospect here, future outlook, the player that he can develop into, I'm sold already. And why I'm sold specifically, it's a couple things. Number one, We've talked so much about the influence of Steph Curry on the NBA. There is no doubt how much he's changed the game from expanding range to the rate that he tosses up three-pointers, and Jared McCain is cut from that same cloth. But what is different about Jared McCain versus any of these quote-unquote Steph Curry disciples that we've seen kind of come and go through the NBA? Trae Young is a guy that I will use as a comparison here. Trae Young is compared to Steph Curry because he is a smaller guard who shoots from wherever. He's willing to pull up from half court in the way that Steph Curry certainly made prevalent here. But what is drastically different and why Jared McCain pops so much to me is he has embraced the off-ball motion that Steph Curry possesses in a way that very few have. You watch a Warriors game, Steph Curry never stops moving. McCain is cut from that same mold here, and he showed that during the Sixers game. There were a couple flashes this year that I had to rewind on the television and watch the way that he is passing it to a guy, and he's in another spot before it feels like the ball even gets to the guy that he passed to, creating without having the ball in his hand. That is a special skill and incredibly rare for a guy in his first season in the NBA. That is a veteran savvy type skill that takes years to build up to it. And the fact that he had this right from the get-go is a huge deal here. And beyond that, it's going to be the shooting. That is going to be the distinguishing factor for him. He has such a repeatable, such clear-cut form, such a quick release, concise. I understand he's 6'2", but he's also got a little bit of juice to him, man. This is not a guy that you can push through or just knock over. He's got some strength. Like when you watch him attack inside, look at his legs, how strong they are, how he can plant, pivot, kind of create. There's almost a little bit of the Jalen Brunson, the good part of Jalen Brunson, the non-flopping and just throwing yourself on the ground and at defenders as you force referees to make a call. None of that stuff. I mean, the actual creation around the rim, the way that he is sort of getting and serving as an almost post player down there when you have the proper matchup. But I see those aspects of McCain's game. And by the way, Brunson has been a player he's pointed to as a point of influence in him there. So I'm very optimistic for what McCain can be and very curious to see what exactly his role will look like next year. And for when I'm speaking about this Steph Curry comparison, you better believe McCain is quite cognizant of that as well. As we had this awesome picture come through that when the Warriors came to Philadelphia of Jared McCain sitting right there in the front row taking things in. And shout out to Derek Barnard once again, who tweets out, Jared McCain watching Steph Curry's pregame shooting routine. He's been sitting by himself, talking to nobody, watching every second. Legitimately not sure he's taking his eyes off him for the last 10 minutes. That to me speaks volumes about this kid's desire, this dude's work ethic, his will to get better, and I do believe this translates. It is a really tough situation for a guy in your first year in the NBA, and even to bring the human aspect in this. Basketball, while it is the sport we all enjoy to watch and all these things, for a lot of these guys, and I do believe Jared McCain falls under this category, it is normalcy to these guys. That when you think about a guy like Jared McCain, who has moved around the country, a California kid who went to college at Duke and now lives in Philadelphia here, the thing that has been normal in his life has been basketball. And when you get that taken away from you halfway through your rookie season, as was the case, it is tough, man. And the fact that he is taking these steps to continue to work to improve while not being able to actually cut or put weight or shoot hoops for such an extended period of time, I do think speaks volumes about his desire. I did have a chance to interview Jared briefly. I went out there in NBA Summer League, and I think what really stood out to me is like what a concrete head that he has on his shoulders for all the reputation stuff. And I know people want to throw the TikToks and the nail polish and all this. And on that note, I will be dropping my Jared McCain recreation TikToks. At this point when this video goes live, probably out already starting those. So I'll be dropping one a day leading up to the NBA lottery. So make sure you're tapping in with me on socials. That'll be at Sean underscore Barnard 1 on Twitter. We'll be on a couple Instagram locations as well. So keep your eyes out for those. I will be doing those as a countdown to the NBA draft lottery because the Sixers missed the playoffs. My initial tweet being that if the Sixers do miss the playoffs, I tweeted this like 12 games into the season, that if the Sixers do miss the playoffs, I will recreate every Jared McCain TikTok that is requested. Well, I did not think this was a possibility, but here we are, and I'm a man of my word. But to bring it back to the actual Jared McCain here, that for all that sort of noise and off-court stuff that people want to throw at him and attach to him there, he's a guy that, by my sense, has such a level head on his shoulders. And to the same point, he's never ducked smoke, man. This dude went to Duke University. This dude has put targets on his back to an extent and has never been anything but himself. So as a human being and as a basketball player, I have the utmost respect for this guy. And I do believe the best moments of Jared McCain in Philadelphia are far from here yet. That there is plenty of great years ahead. And I do think that there is even a world where as we begin to shift into, I don't want to say the post-Joel Embiid era yet, but maybe the post-Joel Embiid superhuman days, where you're relying on him for 50 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists on an every night basis. Those days might be pretty out the window. That Jared McCain is going to be a key part of where the weight of this organization shifts to. His shoulder is going to be pulling some of that, and I think maybe a larger chunk than any of us have acknowledged to this point. I think there's a real world, a real possibility where we're talking about Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey being the faces of this franchise for their foreseeable future, and that's a pretty damn good spot to be as a Sixers organization. So shout out to Jared McCain, man. Do hope the recovery process continues to be going great there. Shout out to Stephon Castle. Once again, do not want to make this an anti-Stephon Castle, and very much a fan of his game and do think he deserved it for sure, but do think our guy Jared McCain would have hopped in front of him in this Rookie of the Year race if he was given the opportunity to do so there. And one more shout out to you guys for tuning into these videos here. It is the dead heat of the offseason. We continue pushing through, continue cranking out content, and appreciate each and every one of you guys for tapping in with us. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you have not already. Drop a like on this video here and drop your comments on Jared McCain below. I'll be back talking to you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.